Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Leadership Arena, a podcast that allows a space to explore the leadership practices and perspectives of people who are in the arena. An organization encompasses so many people who are serving in different roles, and all these moving parts come together to make things happen. In addition to making sure students across our district have meals, Emmalyn has worked tirelessly to prepare healthy lunches for the leadership team. So, today we're going to learn more about Emmalyn's leadership perspectives and the way that she prioritizes her time to make all these great things happen. So, Emmalyn, thanks so much for sitting with us today. You always have so much joy and so much calmness when we interact. How do you stay positive when you're under pressure to meet all of these different deadlines?
Well, for me, it's truly about focusing on what's important, not so much if it's a burden or anything in a negative way. I like to look at things a little more positively, like the end result of a project. Just that goal of getting there, it just, to me, that really brings everything in perspective and to give light to my team. Because if I'm not in the right place, my team won't be. So I always believe that everything starts from the top. So if I do not have the right frame of mind going into my job or into my tasks, then my heart's not in it. My heart has to be in it, no matter how hard it is. And I'm not one to take the easy way out. I want the best outcome, no matter what it is. So for me, everything's possible. Everything is absolutely possible. When somebody tells me no, it can't happen, I always want to know why. Why not? How come? Can't we do this? Can we do that? So I definitely, um, I kind of am more a glass half full person. I don't spend too much time on the empty part of the glass. I focus more on the fullness of the glass.
I think that joy that you talk about really comes through in how you treat people. And when I heard you say that you like to, be a light and kind of shine that on others, I've watched you do that,
Oh,
which is pretty amazing when you think of how big your team is and how much they're spread out. So it doesn't really matter like if there's an issue at a district level or with a particular student. Whenever site leaders have needed help or just questions or concerns that come up with all of the different things that have happened with nutrition services, you are so quick to get on the phone and come to our schools to help us problem solve and get back on track. So, with a team that big and so spread out, you have such a good pulse on who they are and what makes people feel motivated. How do you find time to check in with your team and still have high visibility with site administration?
um, it's not a matter for me of finding time, it's actually making it a priority. So I do try to prioritize every day or every moment in the day, whichever comes first. Depending on what it is, it either moves up or down the list. But nevertheless, it stays on the list. It doesn't come off. Um, and no is not a bad word. If I have to say no sometimes, I hope I do it with grace so that people understand it's not no because I don't want to. It's no that there's something else right now that's a priority. But for me, it's actually, I have to plan it. If I don't plan it, as we all know, there's so many things coming at us all the time. It could get lost. But I live and die by my Outlook calendar. Yeah.
It's good. You have to have a system, right?
Yes.
In our district, we talk a lot about balancing that above the green line and the below the green line. Where I always tell people it's not because people are below the line, it's because they're the foundation. They're everything we do. So when we have clean systems, we have positive relationships, I feel like that's when everything really comes together. What are three things that you do to meet the needs of students and staff, either above or below the green line, but you're very intentional about it?
Actually, that was my word in leadership that I stamped onto my bracelet is intentional. Because for me, I want to make sure that I'm doing things with meaning. not just doing them because I have to. Well, of course I have to, but I want the intention to be behind it. Something that I bring to it because then I choose to do it, regardless of what it is. So three things for me that I kind of bring to that. I do set high standards for my program, for the team, and above all for myself. Um, some people think I'm a little bit crazy for some of the standards I set, but I'm not going to lower them for anybody else, only because that's what they can meet. I believe everyone has the potential to meet that and more. So either you're coming with me for the ride or you're getting off here. So that's kind of my philosophy on that one. Um, I try to find a way to work with collaboratively with other divisions, departments, school administrators. I don't know everything you do or that they do, so I respect your process. So for me to integrate my process with yours, I have to understand how yours works first. I cannot come in and say, "Oh wow, I can't believe HR does that." Well, I don't know what HR does, so it's my job to figure out how HR does things, so I can facilitate some of that happening for my department rather
Mhm.
than be critical, right? So, and then also even on my worst day, I mean, we've had a couple of ones that really could have made some of us throw our hands up in the air, but a lot of us, we didn't. And for me, even on the worst day, I remind myself, honestly, how blessed I am to be where I am today, to work with so many wonderful people. And honestly, this is like an amazing district. And I'm so grateful that I was selected to be here. So I don't take that for granted. So anytime that I'm having an off day, I just think about the line of people waiting to take my job. So either I appreciate it or someone else is coming. So that keeps me focused on, my priorities.
Our leadership team has really, I think, holistically been working on being more balanced, that above the green line, below the green line, while feeling that same gratitude. But I'm wondering if you could describe the ways balance and health impact your leadership, because this has been a really busy time for you as you make sure the needs of our kids are met, but also go above and beyond for our leadership team. So, talk more about how the balance in your own life and your own approach to health impact your leadership here.
Well, for me, actually, my astrological sign, I'm a Libra. So for us, it's the scales. Our symbol is the scales. So I have to have balance. Because sometimes if it's too much on one side, then yes, I get a little bit off balance. But for me, it's balancing right now. The priority for me is my family, and then the district, of course. So when I'm here, it's 100% here. I'm not checking in with my family. It's 110% here. Just like when I'm at home, I have to be 110% mom. Otherwise, I'm shortchanging and cheating my family. So I make it a point not to take work home. Even if I have to stay here till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, I will stay here because when I leave here, I'm not opening it up again over there. So that's important for me. As far as staying healthy, there could be a lot more things that I should be doing that I'm not doing right now because I'm focused on different things. But um, eventually, I want to get back to. I used to do Pilates and yoga. I haven't since COVID hit the studio that I was going to close down, but now it's time. And I will eventually start going there because I think I need that. I really need that other outlet because for me right now, it's all work, 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 and then home. There's nothing else right now because these are the top two things in my life. Um, Everything else to me is kind of secondary. Um, but I'm blessed to have both a wonderful family and a wonderful job with amazing colleagues, a fantastic superintendent. I mean, and my boss is great.
Mhm.
So this district has really helped me become. a better leader, honestly, because my bosses have allowed me to grow and to express myself and run my department without micromanaging me or overshadowing me. They trust me, I actually I value that trust, so I don't want to break it. But yeah, for me, it's all about balance between family and work. Those are
Mhm.
my top two.
I think there are a lot of people on our team that would agree with you when we came here. I think we all expected to grow in our leadership, but the unexpected surprise was that we all have become better people, just by the way that we're impacted and the way that other people impact us. So I really appreciate your sharing all of that. Leadership can be really challenging because we often find ourselves in a fishbowl where we have to do 100 things perfectly, but that one bad moment can really impact our connection with others. So, what I love about the speech by Teddy Roosevelt, Man in the Arena, is he really just so beautifully describes what that feels like. And we have to protect our hearts where we're taking in input from others or um, helpful criticism, but we also have to be really mindful of how much of that we take in and who we're taking that in from. What line of that speech resonates with you most and why?
Well, when I finally figured out it was the one from Teddy Roosevelt's and not from Tom Brady, because he has a little speech too that's called "Man in the Arena." So when I found the right one, the line that resonated with me was is if he fails, at least fails while doing greatly. Some people are paralyzed by the thought of failure, so they never try. And I think that goes, for a lot of people, even in my own department, they're scared when new things come. And they're only scared of the change because they want to do well. Um, and sometimes they're resistant because they're scared that they're not going to. So understanding that, I just let them know that, failure is part of the learning process. And it's okay because we're going to be here together. It's how you recover from that. So for me, um, I'm realistic with myself and I understand that failure is only one of the possibilities. But on the flip side, so is success. But you never will get to taste or feel that success if you don't try. I think for me, it's a lot's in the mind. So if you tell yourself you're going to fail or, oh no, you can't do that, you absolutely can't, then you can't and you won't. I don't put limitations on myself because the people around me deserve more and better from me. They deserve everything I have to give to them. And if I limit myself with the ability or something that is just a facade, then I'm not being genuine, even to myself. Um, Also, part of that thought of failing helps me think about okay, all the possibilities that could lead to failure. So I grow in that too because here I am now mitigating those factors, right? So that helps me grow in that too in my learning. Um, and also, I can set that all aside and focus what I need to do to be successful rather than focus on the possibility of failing. But I think it's really unfortunate that some people never get to that point where they realize their potential. And I have a lot of wonderful people in my department that I've pushed to certain levels that they've never been pushed before. People have cried out of frustration and but I always remind them, I don't understand what you don't see. I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And a lot of times when you get to it, it's because they're just scared of being wrong or not doing it to the best of their ability and disappointing even themselves. But I tell them you have to prepare for the disappointment. It's part of the process. Um, And there are many valuable lessons that can be learned through failure. And as a leader, we have to recover all the time. And it's important to learn that without even trying, you cheat yourself a lot of learning about yourself. I mean, there's things that I've failed at, but then I go back and I think, well, you know what, that was amazing because I figured out what I need to do now, and I'm going to do it again.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm not sure if everyone knows, but when I first applied for this position here at Walnut Valley, I did not get the job. I was already a sitting director at a larger district. And I know some people were disappointed for me. And I told them, well, it is what it is. We never know what districts are looking for. But I tried. And did I want this job? Of course I did. But I also had a great job. I wasn't running from anything, I was running to something. And so people were disappointed for me. But I'm a big believer on whatever will be, will be. 6 months later, I get a phone call. And it was HR asking me if I was still interested. So, of course, I was thinking, oh my goodness, what? Sure. And I interviewed. And then I went through the process. And then I was given the great news that I got the job. Well, that didn't break me down. I mean, I just felt like, okay, this is my time. And I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to run with it because I'm not going to be gone in 6 months.
Right.
I refuse. I'm going to make sure that I am the best for everybody who I work with in this district.
Well, I think you've hit a really, really important point in that it takes a lot of bravery to step out and say, even if the risk is great, even if I fail, I'm still going to try. And I think we're put in that position dozens of times each day. And failure doesn't always feel great, but the learning always is. Yeah. So don't be afraid of the next part. Okay. We're going to do five fast things with WVAA. So these are just your five fast favorites, whatever comes to mind. And are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. What is your favorite recipe to prepare for your family?
I actually don't do very many recipes. I actually just experiment a lot and then I taste a lot. So for me, I love to cook pasta, any kind of pasta. I just think pasta is so versatile. You can do different flavors, different meats, different everything. And I love all the different cuts. So there's different possibilities: penne, rotini, elbow, fettuccine, So just that one thing can transform into so many things. I love that.
Where is your favorite place to travel?
I haven't traveled extensively, but I would love to go anywhere that has really great food, really great people, and a deep rooted culture. I love to immerse myself in other people's culture. I want to learn about them. I'm fascinated with anything different from myself. So that I think intrigues me about going anywhere, even in different states, because there's different cultures in different states, right?
Mhm,
They do
mhm.
things differently. So for me, I love that. I just love that whole discovery piece.
What's your favorite color?
It's a deep red.
And your favorite go to song that always gets you up and moving?
Okay, this one might shock a few people. It's Go Crazy by Chris Brown and Young Thug.
I think I just
Yeah.
saw you dancing to that before this podcast.
I probably was.
That's the rumor around the district.
Probably was. I love it. It just has an uplifting beat. Of course, not the explicit version because there's some
Of
things.
course,
Yeah, just a clean one.
got to keep it professional.
Of course.
What's your favorite organizational tool?
As I mentioned before, for sure Outlook. If it's not on my calendar, honestly, even my personal stuff, it really doesn't happen. So I'm so grateful for Outlook. But I also love Google Doc because everything's in real time. So with my staff being spread all over the place, it's a great way for me to share documents in real time instead of me revising them and having to send revisions. So they have it whenever they want it. They don't have to wait for me. They can access all of that anytime they want. And they can contribute to it too. So it's a collaborative thing for us too in our department.
Well, thank you so much
Mm.
for feeding the hearts and minds of kids and adults across our entire district. Thank you for daring greatly and encouraging others to do the same. And we will see all of you in the arena.